Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's big day is just over 3 months away, and we have some new details for you. We now know the wedding ceremony at St. George's Chapel will happen at noon on May 19th. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, will be officiating. After the ceremony, the royal couple will ride in a carriage procession through the streets near Windsor Castle, and the reception will be held at St. George's Hall. Later that night, Prince Charles will hold a private reception for close friends and family. To go over these details in a little more detail, let's bring in CTV's royal commentator, Richard Berthelsen. Hi, Richard.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So the ceremony will begin at noon. Is that an unusual time?
It is a little later for a royal wedding. I mean, I can remember myself being up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning here in Canada. So it's going to be a little later morning for us, which is fantastic, certainly for those of us in the Eastern time zone, still very early in the West. So a little later. I mean, oftentimes English weddings in general are very mid-morning affairs, and they're followed by what is referred to as a wedding breakfast. So this is starting at noon. The reception will get underway shortly after 1 o'clock. So a little bit later. I think probably maybe a bit of a nod to the number of North Americans that might be interested in this event, given Ms. Markle's citizenship. Yeah,
absolutely. That's why I was wondering about the timing, because maybe they are making accommodations for all of her friends in North America. 2 receptions, though, and a private one later in the evening. That's the one you want the ticket to, huh?
Yeah, and it's a coveted invite rather than a ticket, that's for sure.
Yes.
So, no, that was the form that was taken with Prince William's wedding. Again, a little unusual. The normal practice was for a wedding breakfast or wedding reception following the wedding, and then the bride and groom would leave immediately after on a honeymoon. Now, with Prince William and the Duchess of Cambridge's wedding, there wasn't a reception that was held immediately after, and then there was a more informal, much more informal affair at Buckingham Palace, however, later that evening. So they're following the same form. Looks like it will just be a very small group that will be having dinner, about 100, 150. So that really just covers the royal family and her family, some very close friends. It might be expanded to a wider group who will come for dancing. But all of the guests, the 800 guests who are at the morning wedding, will be going back up to the castle for a reception. Now, while they're making their way back to the castle, the newlyweds will be taking a carriage ride through the streets of Windsor and through the long walk up to Windsor Castle, which is in a great park, a fabulous park. So there'll be lots of opportunities for members of the public who go out to Windsor to see them, because the rest of the event, as we know, is behind castle walls.
So that's a nod to the people, really, and their acknowledgement that obviously so many are interested in this wedding and want to share, even in a little part, even if it means just standing on the side and waving at them.
And that's the form that was used for the wedding of the Earl and Countess of Wessex as well. So this is really a new pattern for royal weddings of what we'll say the lesser royals, not the principal heirs to the throne, as William and Catherine were in London. Of course, Prince Charles was in London in '81. But this is now the form that's being taken, and it does provide ease of security and a lot less public expense because most of the events are behind castle walls.
Right. And just quickly, Richard, because we're almost out of time, any word on when the invites go out? What's the official protocol? Because generally, I have to book off time.
Yeah,
from work.
I know you're gonna. I would be looking for in your mailbox about 6 weeks prior to the event, Jen, because that's when the royal events for the events this magnitude go out. So we'll start to hear some gossip from people who are lucky to get one in early April, I would think.
Indeed. All right. I'll let you know. Thanks, Richard.
Pleasure.
Richard Berthelsen with us today.